When the storm comes, some trees break and others bend. The difference isn't the storm, it's the strength of the roots. In life, storms will come. The only question is, will you stand or will you fall? When people think of strength, they often imagine muscles, power, wealth, or influence. They imagine someone who can lift heavy weights, speak loudly, or control a room with authority. But this is an illusion. External strength can be impressive, but it is fragile. It depends on conditions, circumstances, and possessions that can be lost in a single moment. The man with wealth can lose his fortune. The leader with authority can be stripped of his title. The athlete with physical ability can face an injury. If your strength is built only on what can be taken from you, then it is not real strength. It is borrowed power, and borrowed power always returns to its owner eventually. True strength is something far deeper. It is the kind of strength that cannot be measured in kilograms or dollars. It cannot be stolen, broken, or destroyed by life's storms. It is forged within the mind and heart, shaped by your choices, and strengthened through discipline and perseverance. This kind of strength doesn't come from what you have, but from who you are. It is built in silence, when nobody is watching, and revealed in moments of crisis. People see the calm face, the steady hands, and they wonder where the courage comes from, but it has been there all along, hidden beneath layers of experience and self-mastery. Think about it. If two people face the same challenge, one with inner strength, the other without, the difference in their reactions is striking. The one without it panics, loses control, and sees the obstacle as a wall too high to climb. But the one with inner strength pauses, breathes, and searches for a way over, under, or around the wall. The wall is the same, but the person is different. That difference is not luck, not talent, and not external preparation. It's an internal fortress that no one can see, but everyone can feel. This is why the inside must be built first. Once that foundation is strong, everything else becomes easier to manage. Many people chase external markers of strength, thinking they will bring security. They spend years building their careers, sculpting their bodies, or collecting possessions, hoping these things will protect them from hardship. And while these achievements have value, they are not enough. A wealthy man can still be crippled by fear. A famous athlete can still fall into depression. A leader with followers can still feel empty when alone. Inner strength is the anchor that keeps you steady when all other sources of stability are gone. Without it, the outside collapses the moment the winds change direction. This inner strength is not given to you. It must be earned. It is earned through facing difficulties rather than avoiding them, through keeping promises to yourself even when no one will know if you fail, and through choosing the harder path when it's the right one. It is earned in the moments when quitting is the easy option, but you choose to continue anyway. It grows every time you refuse to be controlled by anger, fear, or doubt. It strengthens every time you stand up for your values, even if it costs you something. Unlike external power, which can be handed to you, inner strength is built through the sweat and struggle of your own journey. The most powerful thing about inner strength is that once you have it, everything else in life starts to align. Relationships improve because you no longer depend on others for your stability. Career choices become clearer because fear no longer paralyzes you. Physical health improves because you have the discipline to take care of yourself. Even your outlook changes. You stop seeing life as something that happens to you and start seeing it as something you can shape. This is why the statement is true: build your inner strength and everything else follows. Not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because you become capable of handling it, no matter how hard it gets. Most people spend their lives avoiding pain. They change paths to escape discomfort, silence their ambitions to avoid rejection, and hide from challenges because they fear the struggle. But here's the truth: pain is not your enemy. In fact, it can be your greatest teacher if you're willing to listen. Every meaningful transformation in life is preceded by discomfort. Growth is never born in comfort zones. It's forged in the fires of difficulty. The body gets stronger by breaking muscle fibers and letting them heal. The mind grows wiser by enduring mistakes and learning from them. And the spirit becomes unshakable only when it survives storms that could have broken it. Pain has a way of showing you exactly where your limits are. It draws a clear line between what you're capable of now and what you could be capable of if you push further. Most stop at the line. They see it as a wall, but those who understand the role of pain see it differently. They see it as a doorway. When your legs burn in the last stretch of a run, when your mind screams to stop while you study for hours, when your heart aches from loss, these are not just moments of suffering, they are invitations to grow. If you can lean into the discomfort instead of running from it, you unlock a new level of resilience. The reason pain feels so unbearable sometimes is because it demands honesty. It strips away illusions and forces you to face reality. When you fail, the pain of failure demands you reflect on what went wrong. When you lose someone you love, the pain reminds you of how precious and fleeting life is. When you struggle financially, the pain pushes you to reassess your habits and choices. Pain doesn't lie. It's the most honest signal you'll ever receive, and if you pay attention to it, it can guide you toward becoming stronger and wiser. There's a saying, easy choices, hard life, hard choices, easy life. Pain is often the sign that you're making the hard choice, the one that will lead to growth in the long run. Waking up at dawn to train your body hurts more than staying in bed, but it builds endurance. Facing an uncomfortable conversation hurts more than avoiding it, but it builds stronger relationships. Challenging your own beliefs hurts more than staying comfortable in what you know, but it builds wisdom. Every hard choice brings some form of discomfort, but also brings you closer to the person you have the potential to become. It's important to understand that pain is not permanent, it's a process. When you embrace it, you realize that it transforms over time. The first time you face a challenge, it feels unbearable. The second time, it feels manageable. The third time, it feels almost normal. Eventually, the very thing that once intimidated you becomes a source of confidence. This is the power of pain. It can turn your weaknesses into strengths, not by magic, but by repeated exposure and adaptation. You can't buy this transformation, and you can't inherit it from someone else. You earn it by walking through discomfort until it no longer controls you. When you stop seeing pain as an obstacle and start seeing it as a mentor, your life changes. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" The lesson is always there. You just have to be willing to learn it. Some lessons are about patience, others about courage, others about letting go. And once you learn them, you carry that wisdom forever. Pain, in its strange and unwelcome way, shapes you into someone capable of enduring far more than you ever thought possible. That is why pain should not be feared, it should be respected. For those who learn from it, pain is not a punishment. It's preparation. People often admire strength when they see it in moments of crisis. A soldier standing firm under fire, an athlete pushing through exhaustion, a leader remaining calm under pressure. But what they rarely see is the invisible work that made that strength possible. True strength is not something you switch on in an emergency. It's something you build quietly every single day, and the tool that builds it is self-discipline. Discipline is the commitment to do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. It's the steady, unglamorous effort that nobody applauds but that changes everything over time. Think of discipline as the silent engine that powers your inner strength. Without it, good intentions collapse. You can have the desire to be healthy, but without the discipline to exercise and eat well, it remains a dream. You can have the dream of financial freedom, but without the discipline to budget and save, it never becomes reality. You can want to master a skill, but without the discipline to practice daily, your ability never grows. Motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you moving long after motivation fades. This is why those who rely only on feeling inspired rarely reach their goals. Discipline doesn't wait for inspiration. Discipline is not about punishment or harshness toward yourself. It's about alignment. It means aligning your actions with your values and your long-term goals, even when your short-term feelings try to pull you off course. Some days you will feel tired, bored, or tempted to give up. Discipline is the voice inside you that says, "I understand you're tired, but we're still going to do this." It's the quiet persistence that shows up day after day, creating the habits that form the backbone of strength. Over time, these habits shape your character, and your character shapes your destiny. It's worth noting that discipline builds trust, not just from others, but from yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, even a small one, you reinforce your self-belief. You prove to yourself that you can rely on you, that trust is the foundation of confidence. Without it, you may have bursts of determination, but they won't last. With it, you develop an unshakable stability that carries you through both good times and bad. It's the difference between a paper boat drifting wherever the current takes it and a ship with a steady rudder. Discipline is that rudder. One of the most misunderstood things about discipline is that it doesn't restrict your freedom. It creates it. People think discipline means living a rigid life with no room for spontaneity or joy. In reality, the opposite is true. Discipline frees you from the chaos of impulsive choices, from the stress of poor preparation, and from the regret of wasted potential. The disciplined artist can create freely because they've mastered their tools. The disciplined athlete can take risks because they've prepared their body. The disciplined thinker can innovate because they've built a foundation of knowledge. Discipline creates a structure that allows creativity, confidence, and adaptability to thrive. If strength is the fortress that protects you in life, discipline is the bricklayer. Every morning you wake up and choose to follow through, another brick is placed. Some days you may lay only one brick, other days 10, but the key is to never stop building. Over weeks, months, and years, the walls rise high. And when the storms of life come, you will stand behind those walls, not because you suddenly became strong in that moment, but because you built that strength slowly, patiently, and consistently. This is the power of discipline. It works quietly in the background, but its results are visible everywhere in your life. In life, it's not always the strongest, fastest, or smartest person who wins. It's the one who can remain calm when everyone else is losing their head. Emotional control is often mistaken for suppression, but they're not the same. Suppression is burying your feelings and pretending they don't exist. Emotional control is the ability to acknowledge those feelings, understand them, and still choose your response. It's the art of being the eye of the storm, present, aware, but unmoved by chaos. This is a power far greater than brute force, because it turns you into someone who can think clearly while others are ruled by impulse. When you lose control of your emotions, you hand over your power. Anger can make you say things you'll regret. Fear can stop you from taking the opportunity that could change your life. Anxiety can paralyze you from acting when action is needed most. But when you master your emotions, you no longer react blindly. You respond intentionally. Instead of being a puppet pulled by the strings of your feelings, you become the one holding the strings, and that shift changes everything, because the moment you control yourself, you control the outcome. Think of emotional control like holding a sword. A sword in untrained hands is dangerous, even to the person wielding it, but in trained hands, it becomes a precise and powerful tool. Your emotions are the same. Left unchecked, they can cause destruction in relationships, careers, and personal growth, but trained through self-awareness and discipline, they become a source of strength. Anger can fuel determination. Fear can sharpen focus. Sadness can deepen empathy. Emotional control doesn't mean removing these feelings. It means directing them so they work for you, not against you. The key to emotional control is presence. When you're present, you're able to catch yourself in the moment before your emotions take over. You notice the heat rising in your chest when you're about to get angry. You recognize the tightening in your stomach before fear makes you hesitate. That split second of awareness is your opening to choose differently. It's not about being emotionless. It's about being emotionally intelligent. This awareness is developed through practices like mindfulness, reflection, and deliberate breathing, which teach you to pause before acting. In that pause lies the space between chaos and clarity. People often think emotional control makes you cold or detached, but in reality, it makes you more compassionate and effective. Without control, emotions like frustration or jealousy can cloud your judgment, making you lash out or act selfishly. With control, you can still feel those emotions, but you channel them constructively. You can listen without interrupting. You can negotiate without ego. You can lead without letting personal feelings distort your decisions. In this way, emotional control strengthens relationships, builds trust, and earns respect, not because you never feel, but because you never let feelings dictate your worst choices. When you meet someone who has mastered their emotions, you feel it instantly. They don't flinch under pressure. They don't overreact when provoked. They move through life with a quiet, steady confidence that makes others want to follow them. This is why emotional control is power. It not only protects you from your own impulses, it inspires others. In the long run, it's not the loudest voice or the fastest action that shapes the world. It's the calm, deliberate choices made by those who can think clearly in the heat of the moment. And that is a strength no one can take from you. Everything you do, every decision you make, and every habit you build passes through a single filter, your mind. It is the gatekeeper that decides what enters your life and what leaves. Yet, most people leave this gate wide open, letting anything and everything flood in. They allow doubt from others to take root, negativity from the news to drain their energy, and fear from past experiences to dictate their future. If your mind is unguarded, it becomes a field where weeds grow freely, choking out the seeds of potential. But when you guard your mind with intention, you choose what you allow in, and in doing so, you choose who you become. Just as you wouldn't eat spoiled food, you shouldn't feed your mind with harmful thoughts. The people you spend time with, the content you consume, the conversations you engage in, all of these are meals for the mind. If you constantly consume fear, gossip, and complaints, don't be surprised when your thoughts turn anxious, bitter, and hopeless. On the other hand, if you feed your mind with knowledge, hope, and discipline, you'll find that your outlook becomes clearer, more focused, and far more resilient. The mind adapts to what it's fed. Whether it's poison or nourishment is your choice. Guarding the mind doesn't mean avoiding reality or pretending bad things don't exist. It means being selective about what you give your attention to. There's a difference between being informed and being consumed. A single drop of negativity might not harm you, but constant exposure will shape your thinking without you even noticing. Before long, you'll find yourself speaking words you didn't choose, repeating fears you didn't create, and living beliefs that aren't even your own. The gatekeeper's job is to ask, does this strengthen me or does this weaken me? Before allowing anything in, your mind also guards against your own inner intruders, those old fears, insecurities, and limiting beliefs that try to sneak back in when you're vulnerable. Many of these were planted long ago by experiences or voices from the past. Without awareness, you might let them stroll through the gate unchallenged. But when you become conscious of them, you can stand your ground. You can say, this thought does not belong here anymore. This is the discipline of mental hygiene, removing what no longer serves you and replacing it with thoughts that fuel your growth. Training the mind to be a wise gatekeeper is not a one-time task, it's a daily practice. Just as you train your body through repetition, you train your mind through consistent awareness. Meditation, journaling, and deliberate reflection are tools that sharpen your mental defenses. They help you notice patterns, catch harmful thoughts early, and strengthen the beliefs that empower you. Over time, you develop the ability to recognize the difference between a thought that builds you and a thought that breaks you, and that skill alone can change the entire direction of your life. When your mind is trained, focused, and disciplined, it becomes your greatest ally. It no longer works against you by magnifying fears or replaying regrets. It works for you by generating solutions, encouraging persistence, and reinforcing your vision. A trained mind doesn't get pulled into every distraction. It doesn't collapse under pressure. It stands at the gate, deciding what enters your world and what leaves. And once you master the gatekeeper, you realize that the quality of your life is simply the quality of what you allow into your mind. Protect it well, and it will protect you in return. One of the greatest misconceptions about strength, whether physical, mental, or emotional, is that it's something you achieve once and then keep forever. People imagine it like a trophy you win and place on a shelf where it will remain untouched for the rest of your life. But strength doesn't work that way. It's not a fixed possession. It's a living quality that requires constant renewal. The moment you stop training it, stop nurturing it, or stop challenging it, it begins to fade. Just as muscles weaken without use, inner strength diminishes when it's left unpracticed. The truth is, life will keep testing you. Even when you think you've reached the peak, a new challenge will appear, one that demands a higher level of resilience, patience, or courage, and this is not a punishment, it's the natural rhythm of growth. If you climb one mountain and stop, you never see the rest of the range. Strength grows not from avoiding difficulty once, but from continually engaging with it, learning from it, and coming back stronger each time. Every challenge is not the end of your journey, it's the next level of your training. The most dangerous point in a person's growth is when they believe they no longer need to grow. This is when complacency sets in, when routines become stale, and when one's sharp skills begin to dull. Many great leaders, athletes, and thinkers have fallen not because they lacked talent or opportunity, but because they stopped practicing what made them strong in the first place. Strength is sustained by humility, the understanding that there's always more to learn, more to improve, and more to master. The moment you think you've arrived, you've already begun to decline. This is why strength should be approached as a daily practice. Just as a musician rehearses their craft, or a martial artist trains their movements, you must engage with the habits, disciplines, and challenges that keep your inner foundation solid. Some days this practice will feel invigorating, other days it will feel exhausting. But the consistency is what matters. Even on the days you don't feel like it, especially on those days, showing up keeps the momentum alive. Practice transforms strength from a temporary state into a lasting way of being. It's also important to recognize that your definition of strength will evolve over time. In youth, it might mean proving yourself, taking bold risks, and enduring hardship with grit. As you grow, it might shift toward patience, wisdom, and the ability to guide others. What remains constant is the commitment to keep building it. Life will present new terrains, health challenges, family responsibilities, shifting ambitions, and each will require a different type of strength. The key is adaptability, knowing that the strength you built yesterday must be reshaped for the demands of today. When you see strength as a lifelong practice, you stop fearing challenges and start embracing them. You understand that every setback is a training ground, every failure a lesson, and every victory just a checkpoint on a much longer road. There is no final form of strength, only deeper, more refined versions of yourself. And the beauty of this truth is that it keeps you moving, learning, and evolving for as long as you live. Strength isn't about reaching a finish line, it's about becoming the kind of person who can run the race forever, no matter how the track changes. Strength is not given, it is built. It is built in the quiet hours when no one is watching. It is built in the moments of pain you choose to face, in the habits you choose to keep, in the emotions you choose to master, and in the thoughts you choose to protect. It is built in the understanding that there is no finish line, only the next step forward. Life will not always give you calm skies. The winds will rise, the storms will hit, and the ground will shake beneath your feet. But if your roots run deep, if your core is steady, you will not just survive. You will grow stronger because of it. So stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop believing that strength will come to you by chance. Begin building it now with every choice, every day, every breath. Because when you build your inner strength, everything else truly follows.